one of the nice things for me about doing this class is that basically I can just play it by ear. I can get a sense of how people are as best I can, and then just decide what I want to do. So what I'd like to do in this last half is not give a talk as such, but actually do a couple of meditations in different ways. So they won't be very long, so it won't be too much of a strain on your body or your knees, I hope, but just, it'll be a sort of a leading in to a couple of sits, and there'll be, I'll say more about that in a minute. So I wanted to give a bit of overview perspective of the Buddhist approach to meditation and the mind generally. So very generally, there's two parts. Relative causal mind, which is the kind of way we usually experience ourselves as a train of thoughts or a train of action, a series of consequences that come out of what we do, how we are, and it's a process. We are a process. So when we, for example, pay more attention to being aware, that has an effect on us. That's a process. We settle more, we become more content. That's part of a process. If we agitate ourselves and get ourselves all kind of tied up in knots, that has an effect on us, and it takes time for us to calm down again. So this way of approaching life and ourselves as processes is quite an important part of Buddhist approach to existence, in a way, ordinary, you could say, existence. It's very down to earth in many ways and very provable. It doesn't, just from one's own experience, you can get a sense of how when you do something, you meditate, has an effect. If you tune in to being more relaxed, you get more relaxed. Or you tune into being more in a sort of generous, benevolent state of mind, that grows. So there's this sort of perception of the mind as process, and you can have, to use a word I've been hearing a lot recently, agency. It sounds like a good word, I just use it. You have agency. You can do something. You actually can have choice. And that choice comes out of awareness. You notice that you've got choice of, do you keep on holding to some gripe, or do you say, enough already, let go of it. I've been winding myself up about that. Enough, and it's not worth it, and let it go. So you have choice, and your life is actually full of choices, and you're making choices. There are, of course, some things that happen, and you seem at that moment you have no choice, but how you respond to it, you choose. And I think that part of the process of being more aware, becoming more kind, positive over time, allows you to work better with difficult things. I'll give a simple example. I'm not looking for sympathy here, honestly. But last year I broke a couple of ribs, and I really learned from that. And I was actually, I was in pain, but I was pretty positive with it. And then this year I broke another couple of ribs on the other side, and I really learnt a lot from last year. And actually I can see the progression. I thought I handled it pretty well last year, but this year I'm handling it much better. So I'm just using this as an illustration that one can handle difficulties, increasingly through learning about your responses. What helps you be more open, be more positive, and do the right thing, do sensible things. So in this way, part of the Buddhist vision is, of what is called conditioned co-production or conditioned arising. It's a technical term, but basically out of one state of mind, another state of mind arises. Just to look at it on the level of mind, but it also happens on the level of practicality. If I knock the microphone over, that is a definite situation that will have implications, for example. So this we are approaching our growth and development on this level of process, and there can be a real sense of confidence and commitment to our process of growth and development, based on the fact that it's quite ascertainable, quite from our own experience clear that it's how things work, how things happen. And you become committed to being more aware and taking on learning from your experience. So on that level, you can learn and develop how to let go of all kinds of mental aggravations, mental irritations, mental worries. You can learn that. You can learn how to let go of physical tendencies to jump off, to want to be somewhere else. Like I used the silly example of the whatever it was, chocolate latte, licorice. Wanting that. I don't know why I was looking at you particularly when I said that. I have no idea. But you can see, you learn from your experience when you're restless and want to jump off somewhere, and you can learn how to let go of that and to settle into what you're doing. Your mind can, as it were, integrate and come together in what you're doing, and that integration and coming together, a sense of wholeness, is really satisfying. And gives you a sense of wholeness and completeness. But this is still on the level of process. Then the other kind of perspective from the Buddhist point of view is what you put simply Buddha mind. Is when somehow or another at a certain point you break through into a way of being which the Buddha exemplifies, where you're not operating on that more ordinary level of process. There's a way of being in mind where you just are creatively responsive to whatever is happening with I could say it before, imperturbability. And steadiness and equanimity. It's not a process in the sense that we know it. It's just absolute contentment and stillness and responsiveness to the situation, without being thrown by, things going well or things not going well. It's just always imperturbable and steady and calm. And the Buddha mind, as it were, just to call it that in a simple way, is something that is an important part of Buddhist vision and possibility for us. And part of that whole approach is that you can come closer to getting into Buddha mind by process. It doesn't exactly, it's not a sort of continuous road process to Buddha mind, but it gets you closer to being able to realize Buddha mind, or what the Buddha represents, all the qualities of calm, compassion, clarity, and so on. So this perspective of Buddha mind is obviously an important part of Buddhism. And it's also part of motivation and momentum, that one doesn't just practice meditation and awareness, mindfulness, as sort of good mental housekeeping. You're not just sort of keeping your mental state so that you can handle the difficult things that happen, and the irritating things. You're not just doing it for that alone. I mean, it is a motivation so that you're relatively unflustered when you miss a bus, for example, or something, something like that. That there is this sense of being open to what, on a symbolic, archetypal level, the Buddha and all the bodhisattvas, who are representations in physical form of the qualities of Buddha mind, what they represent, and a sense of being open to them as symbols of something greater than just housekeeping mind. I just came up with that. I don't know if it really works. But that process mind, that being open to that part of yourself which in some way resonates with that greater Buddha mind, and having it as a motivation for practice. Now, there's a whole aspect of Buddhist practice which you could call devotion and called devotional practice. And I just want to say a word about that, because not to go part of the spirit of devotion to the symbol of the Buddha or the Bodhisattva in Buddhism is that there is a sense of resonance that they in some way express or are embodiment of how you could be. And that you're in recognition of that it is higher than, that state is higher than you are now. You're not there yet, but that it's a potential, and that you can move towards it and you can enter into it. And that the devotional aspect is a sort of the recognition of that, that there is something potentially higher than just process, and you can enter into it. And a sort of gladness for that, you could say. So, what I thought was that I would guide you into two meditations. One is more the process, a bit like what we did earlier. And the other one is more on the entering into the symbolism of Buddha mind. And I'm going to guide you into a visualization of the Buddha. And many of you will know this, but I think it's worth saying, it's not we're visualizing the Buddha as a god or anything like that, but as a representation or symbol of something potential for all of us that we can all experience. And I think it's just worth saying. So, if you'd like to sit yourselves comfortable, stable, and poised. And start straight away with this, what's here? How am I? Can someone change the light so I don't feel as if I'm under interrogation and about to confess? Thank you. Perfect. So the first sit's quite short, 10 or 15 minutes, so just get used to that. You'll be committing yourself to being aware for 10 to 15 minutes. Just get used to that. And then arriving into this sense of what's here, how you are, and settling in the mind and the body. Getting a sense of your shape. If you need to adjust it, relax anything, do that. As part of that, is anything needed? Just dropping in quiet words almost at the back of your mind saying, settle. Settle into the body and how I am now. Sense of openness. Sense of yourself in terms of, is there any discomfort and comfort and anything that needs to be done about that? Doing it. If not, just taking it in, the broad range of what is comfortable and uncomfortable. Settling. Getting a sense of your face. How does it feel? Letting go of any holding or tension in your face, particularly. So going a bit deeper now, but using the face. What's the face behind your face? If there's a face, as it were, imaginatively behind your face, which expresses how you are now, what does it look like? What are the qualities that face expresses? Coming into those qualities, being aware of them, settling into them at a deeper level than just facial relaxation or tension. Being clear in your mind now that you're going to commit to coming into the experience of the breath, first of all, in the belly. And when you're clear about that, then starting to do that. The feeling of the rise and the fall, the feeling of the expansion and the contraction. Staying with it, coming into it, settling into it. And just a very quick light check. Has any tension emerged? Soften it. Mind wandered, clear it and come back. Keep the initiative. And now bringing attention up to the heart area and the breath and the movement and feeling of it. A sort of little radar for when the mind drifts, noticing it quickly and coming back with gentle commitment and persistence. And the breath in the chest, heart area. Fresh experience, breath by breath. Adjusting if you need to. So there's a sense of calming and stabilizing the body and enjoying that. And the mind also stilling and becoming absorbed in the process of coming into the breath. A sense of openness and spaciousness to experience. And now moving attention up into the sense of the breath in the nostrils. And if it helps, do the finger touch before the in-breath. Committing and keeping the initiative. Process of arriving and becoming stiller. And now broadening your awareness to your face, how it feels. Whole jaw, mouth, sensations in the mouth. Cheeks. Any holding. Just soften it. Around the eyes, temples. Being aware of the face in this physical, sensual way. What feels comfortable and uncomfortable in it. Taking it in. And now, imaginatively, the face behind the face that expresses how you are in yourself. What does it look like? Coming into the experience it expresses. So you have the underlying qualities and the physical experience together. And resting. If you want to ease your legs, do that now. Keep the awareness, the sense of presence. So a little question, no right or wrong here. And I can also see the online people's responses. So the question is, if you did get a sense of the face behind the face, imaginatively, just put your hand up. Okay, cool. Thank you. So I'm just going to say a couple of words about the imagination and meditation. There are ways in which the imagination is not helpful in one's growth and development. And I don't need to say much about that because I think probably you're all aware of that in your own ways, how you imagine something is true and it's not, or imagine something's going to happen and it doesn't, for example. But there are ways in which the imagination can be really enhancing to awareness. And one of them, for example, is metaphor. So you say, if I'm a lake, so you could ask yourself this now, as I mentioned, if I'm a lake, what kind of lake am I like now? And just be open to a lake image for how you are. Get the sense and feeling of a lake. It doesn't even have to be visual. What's it like? Does it express something of how you are? If you get something of that, just put your hand up. Okay. Yes, I see you online as well. Thank you. So when we start to do a visualized meditation, we're using this faculty, and it needn't be just visual, but it can have a sense as well. So if you think, oh, I'm not a visual kind of person, I can never see things, don't worry about that. It's not actually a huge impediment here. It's more that the imagination can operate on other levels as well as just visual. Give you a sense of something. So if you put yourself back into your nice, stable, poised, comfortable position, so this is going to be a short meditation on the archetype of the Buddha. So not historical. So we start just by being aware of ourselves and a sense of openness and letting go of any preoccupations and just arriving. Closing your eyes if you feel comfortable. If not, that's fine. And in the sense of being open to a sense of spaciousness and openness without the mind jumping on anything or clinging to anything. And it's like a clear, open blue sky. It's like that. Sense of fixedness. And out of that clear blue sky there emerges, seated on a lotus seat, figure of a Buddha. Very calm, tranquil, with a slight smile, sort of golden yellow in colour. Having the sense and visual of the Buddha representing this Buddha mind calmness and imperturbability, where the worries of the world don't stick, they come and go without sticking. A sense of depth of being. which is vibrant and still at the same time. And the Buddha figure is seated in meditation with hands in meditation mudra or hand gesture. There is a sense of just calmness and stillness that's profound and deep in the figure. Letting go of any judgment about whether you're doing it right or wrong, or it's okay or not okay, just letting go of all of that. But however it appears or senses, that's fine. And Buddha is primal, content, equanimous mind. Settling into the relating to the sense of the Buddha in this way. Letting go when anything takes you away. Coming back gently. A deep stillness emanating from the figure. Just taking it in. The active part is when your mind wanders, coming back gently. Sense of deep stability. And all the while the figure of the Buddha has a gentle smile, kind, benevolent. And resting. And absorbing, just taking it in. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. And just taking the room in a sort of wide angle, taking in the dimensionality of the room without focusing on anything in particular. Just open, settled. And just absorbing how you are. And just to finish, just playing with this again. What's the face behind the face like now? Just close your eyes and just get a sense. What's the face that expresses how you are now that perhaps no one else can see? What's it like? What's the quality of it? Just come into that quality. Okay. Just come back into the room. So we're going to finish here. Thank you all for being so attentive. And you can over the course of the weeks coming to the center, explore the different modes, the process of practicing meditation, causal process, and through things like the puja, devotional practice, the openness to what the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas represent of Buddha mind, and also just in quiet periods, in your own time and at home, just relating to what the Buddha represents to you.